Hello, friends. I hope you're well. I would love to see in the chat what you're looking forward to most today. We're already recording. I'm going to go ahead and get started now. So if you have to step out, that's fine. The recording, the replay will be available later. So let's go ahead and get started while you guys are introducing yourself. But I wanted to keep it really easy to complete your planner setup for your new planner. Now this is the digital edition we'll be using. It's, I think, really helpful to have this edition here. Let me go ahead and share screen with you. Here we go. So this is the digital edition. And I thought this would be easiest for us to kind of see everything. This is where we're going to go through. Let me know in the chat if you've already set up your tabs. This is something I'm waiting for, a new black pen, a black friction pen, because my kids have taken mine. So they keep taking my black friction pens. And so I'm getting some more today so that I can finish my tabs for my new planner, which is right here. My cat keeps laying on it. But I am hoping to have that done soon. Let's see. And does anybody have their tabbing done yet? I tell you, this was a mountain of work to do all the tabs for the digital edition. This is a lot of work. But anyway, so hopefully you've read the preface already and the introduction, how to use the planner. You don't have to use every section like the submissions or the editing process, the reading list. Some people don't read or use the income and expenses. I like having a paper edition, even though I use QuickBooks Online, simply because I enjoy the opportunity to write down an expense and to really have to think a little more critically about whether or not that expense was worth it. So for me, that's why I use it. You can go ahead and jump in the chat and let me know if you've got your tab set up yet. So we're going to go ahead and start with my vision today. So for my vision, everything in this planner is titled My, because I want you to really take ownership of it. Yay, Annie, tabs are done. Awesome. Maggie, no tabs yet. Gotcha. I got my Avery Ultra tabs. I guess now when you search tabs, they're coming up page flags, which just isn't the same, unfortunately. All right. So anyway, so my vision, everything is titled My, because it's not about me. It's about you and what you want, your vision. It's all about you taking ownership of everything in this planner as part of your life. So my vision. So in order to effectively set our goals for the new year, we have to really think about what we want in our lives and what kind of life we want to create and what success looks like to us. So I put this here because it's really important for us to define how success looks to us. For some people, they get really caught up in, well, I want to be like this person, and for this person, success is this. It's, $1 million writing empire or publishing empire. That's just not for everybody. So really defining intrinsically what is motivating you, what ideas or dreams motivate you to want to succeed, and what are the milestones for success for you. So think about that, and then think about 2023 and jumping forward to the end of it, the last night of the year. We're jumping forward to December 31st, 2023. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you wearing? How are you celebrating your success? So this is really just taking a trip down your imagination and thinking about that night. And I want you to imagine these simple things like what you're wearing, how you're celebrating, who you're with, the place, like get all the senses kind of into this imagination, this imagined situation, and think about what you're feeling. So this, in writing all this down, helps you get deeper into that vision, because I want you to really think about how you want to feel at the end of next year. For me, for example, I want to feel proud of what I've accomplished. I want to feel like I have a clean slate for the new year. That's really important for me. And then what are you most proud of accomplishing in 2023? What is it that you want to, when everybody asks you, you say, this is my number one crowning achievement for the year. And if you want, go ahead and share that in the chat. But I really want you to think clearly on that, write it down. Sometimes we don't know this until we get into this exercise. So think about this as you write it down, and let me know if you have anything to share in the chat. Go ahead and share it. But if anybody needs any clarification on this exercise, just let me know. Let me know in the chat or send me a message. So after you've gotten through that, I want you to stay in that vision just for a moment longer, thinking about the things you want, the sensory experience that you're imagining, and then what you're most proud of, what you've achieved in the year, all the things that you want for yourself and your family, or what have you. Think about that and read through this page 3. And again, you can always go back through this. This doesn't have to happen right now, but hopefully you're able to follow along as well. And hopefully you've read ahead on this and you're not having any trouble getting through this. So on the next page, we have thinking about, our willingness to try new things, invest our time and energy into achieving our goals. Sometimes if we're unwilling to do those things or try those things, it's driven by fear of the unknown, fear of the failure, or even fear of success, which is totally a thing. Unfortunately, we know that when we succeed at something, it's because things are going to change if we succeed. So think about those things. Think about the things that may be holding you back, and then commit to getting through those things, not letting them hold you back, not allowing yourself to self-sabotage in order to stay the same. Think about aligning your actions with the things that you've committed to on paper, online, in writing. Think about what you want and then committing your actions to achieving it. So for 2023, and this is where we're writing again, what do you want your authorship to look like? How much time do you want to spend writing each week or each month or even each day? What manuscripts would you like to finish and publish? How many sales would you like to earn? What would you achieve? Or how would achieving your authorship goals and vision change your life for the better? This is where you have an opportunity to really explore in depth your feelings about your writing and what you want it to look like as a part of your life this year. And I think this is a really important exercise to do ahead of our goal setting, because sometimes we go in with goals like milestones or numbers or something like that, but we really haven't thought about what we want it to even look like or feel like when we're doing it. Okay, if we want to write a book a month, is that really something that we would feel good doing, or would we feel horrible doing it? So think about how you feel, how you want to feel in the coming year. Maybe you want to be making double the money, but only working 20 hours a week so that you can take care of your kids, or you want to be and you want to take multiple vacations. So, whatever it is, think about how you want your authorship to look and feel in 2023. Set up that vision before we get into the nitty-gritty, because that will actually help define what you really intrinsically, authentically want. This planner is designed to help you advance your writing career, but I intended it for it to actually help all of the areas of your life. So if you visit resources.audreyhuey.com, I'm going to have a little lesson there in the coming days posted called Streamline Your Life, focusing on what matters most. And it's going to be based on the original video that Jessica Rodriguez had for us, which was really streamlining your life, really boiling it down to the 4 most important areas of your life. For example, we can only pick so many things. We can't have all the priorities. So we have to have self. That's always number one. If we don't take care of ourselves, everything else doesn't matter. Okay. So number one is self. Number two, for example, for me, is family, because they're the next most important thing outside of myself. Number three is my writing. And number four is my business. For a lot of people, that number three and number four is work and then writing. If you have a day job that you have to do. So for some people, family is a little bit more complex, because if you homeschool, then you have a lot going on at home. So it's all dependent on your life. But writing can include marketing and editing and all those other things. It's not just the act of writing, but that's in the area of your life. So think about the areas of your life and write them here. And then how can you honor those most important areas of your life throughout the year? For me, for self, for example, I would say improve my health. For my family, I would say improve my quality time with my family, maybe traveling more with the kids to show them places that I love and see what they love too. For my writing, it's going to be finish and publish more books. And for my biz, it's, finding a bigger way to have a positive impact on more people. So and then this is where you can get really into the nitty gritty and start building details based on what we've done so far and that vision that you started creating. How many manuscripts would you like to draft, or works you'd like to publish? Copies of the books you would like to sell, or even if you are in KU primarily, how many page reads do you want? And you can put both there too. I mean, have fun with this, get messy. How many new subscribers would you like to add to your email list? Or how many new customer reviews of your books would you like to see? You can get into these nitty-gritty details to help refine that idea of what you want this year in your authorship, and what you want it to look like, and what kind of results you would like. So not everybody wants to enter writing contests or submit for awards, but that is totally up to you. You can cover this with a sticker, you can cross it out and put some other metric there that you would like to measure. Okay, so be flexible, let this be flexible, and don't be afraid to scratch things out. All right, so now we have a little bit more, you've had a little bit more time to work on that. Let me know where everybody's at. If I'm going too fast, let me know, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys an overview so that you know what you can do, and know that this is flexible and meant to help you authentically set up your very intrinsically motivated goals. So a lot of LYs there. So anyway, think about your goals. And in this section, we're actually setting up your top 3 goals for 2023 right here. So we're going to sketch them out. And this does not have to be perfect, because we have a place for you to put more refined goals in a couple pages. But for now, I just want you to think about your top 3 goals. Put each one in these bottom sections here. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, put them along the bottom. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but just put them in the bottom boxes. And then these are the milestones or steps to get to your goals. So if anybody's having trouble with this, just let me know, but set up these goals and milestones. For example, if you want to sell so many books, think about the milestones it takes to get there. If you want to get to where you're selling 5,000 books a month or something, understand what it's going to take in the first 6 months, I would say, to get to that point. So or 2 months at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So if it's however much, just break it down to what it's going to take in that growth every 2-month period, or whatever you need. Or you can even do quarterly and black out 2 of these boxes, or scratch them out, or cover them in stickers. But really break down your goal. If your goal is to publish so many books, think about what needs to be published first. Like if it's finish my fantasy series down here in the middle box. Then start at the top and say, okay, what's the first step? Is to draft, book 5, book 6, book 7, finish your editing, finish your publishing, market launch or launch and market, whatever it is. This is all meant to help you break down these goals into an actionable plan with steps included. So is anybody having a problem with this, or is this pretty easy and straightforward? Let me know in the chat, please. So I'd love to know if it's pretty straightforward. It helps you kind of break down and visualize what needs to happen and how you're going to get there. All right. So for mapping your goals, what I like to do once I'm done with this, and this kind of keeps it flowing, is I take the pieces, those milestones and steps from the first, second, and third goals, and I actually start inserting them here into mapping my goals. But before I even do that, before I start inserting those milestones, thanks, Maggie. Before I start inserting those milestones, I actually look at my big things first. I insert the big special events, like November for me is 20 Books Vegas. December, I usually like to have a rest month. I call it a rest month, but it's a lot of planning workshops. And then June or July, I still have to nail down the dates this year, but June or July, we're gonna have a family vacation. And as I learned this past year, if I try to work through a family vacation, the results are disastrous. so I'm just going to make sure to take those off. And then April and July, I love to do NaNoWriMo. So I'm going to make sure those are in there around my vacation. And March, I have a spring retreat that I host. So that's going to be taking up most of March, is the preparation for that. So I will actually, once I have my big dates and important events into the mapping my goals blocks into these, each month that it's happening in, I will take the milestones from defining my goals and insert them around this, so I understand how this is going to work, or these goals are going to work around the things that I already know I have going on. In November, and actually most of October, I spend preparing for 20 Books Vegas. It's just, it takes a lot to prepare because I have a vendor table there. And so I have to prepare and make sure that I have enough planners, and I prepare goodies and pens, and it actually is a ton of work. So I like to have all that done for sure. Anyway, so sometimes what you'll find is that with all the milestones you have, if you have a lot you can already foresee that is going to be happening in the coming year, you might say, okay, maybe I need to pare this goal back a little bit. Maybe instead of 5,000 copies a month, I need to, maybe my goal should be 2,000 copies a month, because I know it's going to take me a lot of marketing time up front to get around the things that I have to do in order to build up the speed, in order to learn whatever it is I have to learn, whether it's ads or social marketing or getting on podcasts, etc. Whatever it is you have to do to learn to sell more books, you might need a little more time to get up to the milestone or the target you're striving for. And I like to use goal and target interchangeably, because sometimes goals seem like this big pie in the sky dreamy thing, whereas a target is clearly something you're aiming for. So goals, I like to think of them as targets instead of just big dreamy things. Anyway, so get that in there. Does anyone have any big events, in certain months that kind of take a lot of preparation that you won't be able to pair that with anything else going on with your writing during that time? Let me know in the chat. I'd like to see what everyone else has going on, since I shared mine. But once you've finished that, you have the space to evaluate your goals based on the goal map and the year map of your goals, the goal path, I should say, and the goal map. So once you've done this exercise, it's like your chance where you can just put anything you want, let it be messy, because you get a chance over here to evaluate those goals and say, hey, I need more time, or hey, actually, I could do better than that. I could strive for more. And then you can refine them and make them pretty on this page in refining my 2023 goals. So your goal one, your target completion date, say your goal is to have an excellent retreat or an excellent book signing event that's in the spring, then, maybe that target completion date would be March 31st. And then steps to achievement, your table setup, determining your table setup, ordering copies, finishing another book that can go, determining your bestseller and packaging it, learning new ways to package customer purchases and make, order stickers for bags, things like that. Goal two, if it's to sell, if you're shooting for 2,000 copies a month by the end of the year, then maybe your goal, you break that down here. What is that? Every 2 months, what is that milestone you need to hit by which date? So by the end of February, by the end of April, et cetera, and so on. And for goal number 3, if you want to finish a series, again, you have a chance to better list out and make pretty those steps to achievement. Robin says we're considering a big vacation next year, but we have no idea what month it might be in. Definitely won't be the summer, but pretty much any other time is open. That's really important to consider, because it can absolutely affect your writing schedule and what you're able to get done. And when you set goals, I want you to set them in a way that, or even setting goals and mapping out how they fall in the year. Planning is so much less stressful when you think ahead on these things. So for the rest of this session, what you're going to do, unless you're still catching up, is you're just going to go in and list, if you have 1 or up to 5 top manuscripts that are the most important to you, you're going to put them in the My Manuscript section. So I created it this way because I want you to prioritize your most important manuscripts that have not yet been published. So this is your chance to explore that. What makes this story special? Why is it important? What is so important about this story to you that it gets your number 1 spot? So we have 5 total spots here, 5 pages dedicated to you listing out your manuscripts in order. And what I love about this is this helps me stay on track and get in conjunction with the story ideas section. It helps me not get distracted by new story ideas. I know that this first manuscript is the most important because of X, and seeing this here and seeing what I wrote helps me stay on track and remember why it's special to me, why it needs to be in that top priority place. So anyway, fill those out and then come to your editing process. You can take some time to fill this out if you want to. Some people don't, but a lot of people do appreciate having this section where, excuse me, if you're using erasable pens, then this can evolve. So for me, there's certain things I do after completing a first draft, letting it sit, for example, or making sure that you put it through Grammarly or Pro Writing Aid or both, and then setting it to betas, whatever your process is, step by step. Set it down here because this actually helps you further or even better map out your goals on your timeline for 2023. If you know that this first step takes 2 weeks, if you let it sit for 2 weeks before you do anything with it, and then it takes you another 2 weeks to go through your own programs with it before you send it to an alpha reader, whatever your process is, think about how much time it takes for each thing, and then you can better set up your editing timeline in your year. So you're not saying, well, I'm going to edit a book a month, or it's only going to take me a month to edit a book, when your process as it currently stands takes longer than that. And that's how you feel comfortable with editing. Then we want to make sure you have enough time to do that without feeling pressured or stressed out. You can also, these are just more questions to get you thinking about different ways you can improve, or either improve your editing process or improve your efficiency in your editing process. There's checklists. I love this checklist. It's always changing for me. Dark and old were typically my things that had to be words that had to be on my editing checklist. And so I learned once I write these down, it's like I'm much more aware of them. So I don't overuse them or abuse them as much anymore, which is really helpful. This one, so I've given you 5 pages here to match up potential editors with each of the manuscripts from your My Manuscripts section. Now, you don't have to use this. If you already have an editor that you really like, you don't have to use this. But if you have different genres or you're looking for a new editor, this is a good place for you to consider different aspects of each editor and compare them in a single spot versus kind of just sketching things out messily on some notebook somewhere that's probably going to get lost. Now, next is the My Submission section. This is if you submit to any contests, awards, or if you're looking for an agent, anything like that, whatever you're submitting to. I personally want to try to write for magazines again this year. I would like to also do Midnight, NYC Midnight, that short story writing contest again. It brings me a lot of joy. I get a lot of great feedback from the judges, and I feel like I really grow from that. So that's gonna be part of my submissions section this year. And there's also my contacts. So if you come across a contact in the submissions where you'd like to submit pitches to bloggers or podcasters or influencers you'd like to connect with over the year, you can put them here. Now, my story ideas, this is the last section we're going to go over today. But again, like I said, between this and the My Manuscripts section, in conjunction, they work really well to help kind of corral all these squirrels and all the shiny objects as in story ideas. So when I get a story idea and it's taking over my life, I write it down in here, and sometimes I cross out idea, working title, and brief synopsis and character notes in the second and third spots, or wherever I need to if I have a lot to write. But it feels so good to work on whatever it is that is invading my mind, and then give it space, give it energy, and then let it be here where I can come back to it later and go back to work on the thing that's most important. So that's why we have this very nice, robust story ideas section. A lot of us can come up with a lot more story ideas than that, but you also have a My Musing section at the back of your planner. You know what? Actually, let's do one more. So the My Reading List, when you have a chance, if you set this up, you can think about one for each month, one personal and one professional reading selection if reading is important to you. Again, this is another section that you don't have to use if it's not important to you. But for me, I love writing out one book I like to read, like personally, that I would just for joy, and then one book I'd like to read for professional development. So restrictive, I know, but you have all this space here for other books on your TBR, books in your genre, books on craft, books on business, other books. So you have plenty of space to put additional reads here and add. So it's not only one, but you have your primary list for the ones that are most important, the one that's most important to you personally and professionally for each month, and you can put that here. So plenty of room, plenty of space. My expenses, actually, I'll cover this. Okay, I will cover this right now just because this is something you can fill out as you go. Like I said, this really helps me keep track of and think more critically about expenses. And you could also put your income here because it can feel really nice to say, okay, here are my Lulu revenues for this month. Here's my Amazon revenue for this month, and watch it total up, which is something that was requested to me to add to this add just last month after all the planners are already out. So next year we'll be having a totals count at the bottom, but you could just totally put total in here and total income and expense for the year or for the month, and then add it up at the end of the year and put it in December's right there, right here. So anyway, Seeing the expenses each month really helps with the end of the year. It really does. It helps when you keep it up. And um, again, if you keep spending money on blog tours, but then you have to write down how much every single time you spend on blog tours and are not really having the income impact that you desire, you might start rethinking those, for example. Now, some people do really good with them. So I'm not saying one way or another that they're good or bad, but I do want to share that it really helps to consider those expenses in contrast to your income. Maybe if you do a blog tour in May for a new release and at the end of June or July, you're not seeing that income, you start to rethink it. So anyway, I hope you guys really like this. Does anyone have any questions? Let me know and I will be happy to answer them.
Okay. Hello. Thank you for doing this because I have big plans for next year. And so my main question is about expenses because I haven't been very good at doing those. So what advice would you have for someone who normally skips that part of the planner? Are there any previous videos that we can watch to go back and kind of refresh on how to begin keeping track of your expenses, especially with tax season right around the way? I kind of want to make sure I get off to a good start.
Yeah, yeah. So I would actually have, I would set up a um, a reminder either in your phone, your computer, on your digital calendar, or even go ahead in your planner and have certain days of the month or certain days of the week that you record expenses. So does that help, Niece?
Yeah, so you're saying just pick 1 or 2 days out of the week to where that time is specifically for taking inventory or taking stock of your expenses.
Yes, yes. I like to do it
Okay.
once a month. I have like monthly maintenance, I call it, and I spend the end of each month doing it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Maggie, still working on it, still recovering from surgery. I'll have time to set everything up. Yes, awesome. Awesome. Robin says, I started filling this out when I was 6, so my goals were very blah and nebulous. So I hope you used erasable pens so that you can go back in and improve based on what you think. It is helpful if you feel good. I like to have like a little ritual of setting up some tea or getting some tea ready for myself and making sure that it's quiet. I like to do this. Obviously, I have a lot going on in this house. So I actually like to get up really early in the morning after my husband leaves and before the kids are awake. I get up and do this when the house is quiet, it's dark, and there's just like nobody awake to interrupt me. I can just have my tea or coffee and and enjoy myself and enjoy the experience and feel peaceful while doing it. Niece, I tried finding those pens but came up empty. Any recommendations? Yes, I will. I will help you. And I get them on Amazon. You can also get them at Office Depot, but they're more expensive. And um, I think you can get them at Walmart too. So there's different options, but I mostly just get them from Amazon because they get delivered here and I don't like going out when it's really busy. And we both know that in our town right now, it's super busy because everybody's getting ready for Christmas and the roads are a disaster. So, um, Ramen, I mostly just skipped a lot of the pages. My overall goals are fine, but not broken down. So definitely, I hope you feel better so you can get, have time to break them down. Yeah. Robin says, Niece, I pick a day either at the very end of the month or very beginning of the next and print off the statements from my various accounts, then put everything into my digital planner. Yep, absolutely. Um, yeah, it's the holiday rat race here in Martinsburg. It sure is. It is just crazy. So, um, it is crazy right now. All right. Does anyone have any other questions? Was this helpful?
I keep raising my hand because I literally just had a student, so I'm still in teacher mode. I'm sorry.
No
But
worries.
I have one more question. This is mainly for anthologies because I'm someone who loves doing anthologies, and I was always wondering about having a section in the planner, maybe for the next update for specifically for anthologies. But do you have any advice on how you can separate that? Like I like to do at least one anthology a year, so I'm challenging myself with that. But for people that participate in more than one anthology, especially if it's Kickstarter related, like keeping track of how to do that on top of their normal authorship plans. How would you recommend they start with that?
I wouldn't separate that at all. If you want to run
Hmm.
an anthology, like I
Mhm.
could totally create a workbook for that. I don't know how popular it'd be, but I love doing it. So I could create a workbook specifically for that. But I don't think it would be helpful to most people
Mhm.
to have something separate about running anthologies inside the planner. But if you were just talking about submitting to anthologies and being included in anthologies, or
Mhm.
even running an anthology, I do all my stuff in my planner. My entire life goes into my planner. So I don't separate that from the rest of my life because it's not separate. It's part of my life. And I can't plan like as if that's not happening. You know what I mean? So it
Mhm.
has to be planned in conjunction with all the other things I want to do. So you're right. Like for part of my goals this year, it's to run another anthology and to publish one of my collections and run at least two more Kickstarters. So yeah, I wouldn't separate it at all. Does that make sense, or am I getting
It does, yeah,
right?
because I was mainly asking because I like to participate in anthologies, but I do in the back of my mind, I feel ready to run one, but I always feel like there's certain little things that I'm missing. So I do personally, this is just me, I would love maybe a small planner that would help with that because
Yeah,
I feel that's a different set of hats that you would have to wear. And
yeah,
after participating in the Kickstarter, I just felt so overwhelmed.
yeah,
And I was just submitting a story, so I can't even fathom
yeah, yeah.
what all went into the back end of things. So
It
yeah.
is a ton of work for an anthology, and then you can 10 times it when you're doing a Kickstarter for it. So,
Mhm.
and the more authors, the more work you're gonna do. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I could totally do a different workbook for that. But when you're talking about submitting to or even managing when it comes to plans and timelines, once you have all those things sorted out, what's gonna happen when, why, where, whatever,
Mhm.
that should be in your author's planner
Okay.
as so the day to day what's
Mhm.
going on. This is your whole life planner. It's a whole life planner for authors.
Oh, okay. I'm like, why isn't that in the book? It's a whole author life planner.
It is.
I love that. Yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome. Awesome. I'm glad it was helpful, Robin. And Maggie, I hope it's helpful to you and that your recovery is going well. And next, in part two, we're going to cover the marketing plan, which is a huge thing on its own. It can be pretty intense. And I'm going to have like a different setup for sharing what we can do to plan our marketing effectively. Alrighty, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for showing up today. Again, just let me know if you need any extra help, okay? Ciao.